Hey everyone, it's your boy, 46K down the drain here. You feel that? That's that struggle going right up the bloodstream. What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite internet roommate, and today we're doing a sorta part 2 of my busting of a nut to the Berserk 97 soundtrack. But today, we're just talking the OPs, baby. That's right, today we're talking the one with the English, the grasses, and the many questions. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. The one that does a speedrun of Guts' entire backstory, and the one that has better animation than the entire show itself. What the fuck? And once again, let us stress that I have zero studies or knowledge on music. I'm not a music major. I didn't go to college. I heard this album and I got scared that if I did go, I'd end up on a Little Jimmy skit or something.
Hey, Jimmy, where you going?
I'm not a composer. I'm not a musician. I'm just a dude who likes them bops that sometimes I don't even know the words to. We're gonna talk the sound and the vibe. We're gonna break down the visuals and lyrics of all these OPs. But before anything else, I think it's important that we give our condolences to Eren Yeager era IP. He served his time well, but it had to come to an end. Sleep well, my sweet prince. Because now, Takumi era IP is back. Enough! Flicking my butthole, let us put our grasses on and dive into the sweet, censored to avoid demonetization and or removal of video at 46K views, despite that making me really happy, but now it makes me really sad. Cheeks. So unfortunately, there's not a lot to say about Penpals, the band behind Tell Me Why. Regardless of my Nardwuar, Sean from Hot Ones, and page 2 of Google research, all I can really find is that they were founded by twin brothers, Kinya and Seiya Kamijo. I'm trying my best, I promise. And Tell Me Why was actually their debut single. And from that single in '97 all the way to 2004, they would drop 7 albums, they'd break up in 2005, but they'd reform in 2012 with an 8th album that has a new recording of Tell Me Why. And I'm gonna be honest, hearing the song with more updated, crisper guitars is nice, but he says glasses and it just don't hit right, man. But let's actually talk about the OP version. Kinda strange vocal delivery, weirdly tuned guitars, and just like complete butchering of the English language. These are all the ingredients to making a absolute timeless bop that I will never stop listening to. I love the English, I love the lyrics, I love the feel of this song, I love it, okay, I love it. But more importantly, what I want to get to is that a lot of the fandom of Berserk writes this song and this opening off as not really fitting Berserk. And I don't completely disagree, but I at least want to offer a counterpoint, which yes, to some might seem like just some planetary reaching, but maybe you just don't got your grasses on, buddy. First things first, because this is an OP, we can't just talk the music, we gotta analyze the visuals. And to do that, we're gonna have to use our classic AniTuber analysis OC that either stands still or crosses their arms jutsu. The visuals are primarily and predominantly focused on Gats. I'm not gonna do that. This OP is clearly built around Guts and his life. He's really the only character of note in it. I love this long shot that goes into a close shot of him just kind of staring out into the horizons, almost like him looking out into all the possibilities that his life can hold. I also want to point out that Guts is standing at the very edge of the cliff. I think this alludes to the idea that Guts throughout this arc doesn't really have a purpose like the other members of the Hawk. He doesn't have a reason to live or a dream to live for. So he's a lot more reckless with his life. He fights in a way that puts him in constant danger, where a single mistake could lead to his death. And because of that, Guts is trying to find meaning through fighting to survive. Or in the most simplest terms, Guts is living on the edge. I know there's probably a number of you who just heard me say all that and are thinking like, dude, it's just a cool shot of Guts on an edge. It's not that deep, my guy. You're thinking too deep, dude. Yeah, you're probably right. He then uses his sword to catapult him forward, kind of alluding to the idea that it's his sword that moves him forward in life. After that, we go into a montage of Guts' different facial expressions. But it also keeps cutting to this shot of a white flower just burning, kind of representing the idea of Guts losing his innocence because, well, you know. And if you want to know more, this handsome, totally wholesome fella in my comment section will fill you in. And though those facial expression shots could be kind of campy, I do think they're very charming and do fit the character of Guts. Look at this mic. This shit just broke. This is done. R.I.P. Gotta go buy a new mic. Got a new mic. These are all just different emotions and feelings that Guts goes through throughout the series. Anger, reflection, happiness, and it even ends with a shot of him just continuing to move forward. Something that Guts will continue to do throughout the series. In fact, the show even ends with a similar shot of Guts continuing to move forward. But now let's talk the song itself. The sound usually gets made fun of for being too positive and campy for a dark fantasy series and a world like Berserk, and the lyrics are usually made fun of for not fitting Berserk as a show. Insert obligatory, haha, it say nothing will be wrong, but everything go wrong, haha. First off, I don't agree that the song sounds campy or even really that happy. To me it sounds more grounded, hopeful, and even a little angsty, which I think fits the golden age arc of Guts, where he's maturing from his loner, teenage, kinda angsty ways and also healing from his trauma and becoming his own person so he can walk his own path. Especially when you hear the faint voice in the background that's doing the chorus, it really sells you on the idea that this song is more about someone who is struggling, but is trying to convince themselves to keep going and have hope. Those iconic lyrics of, "So put your glasses on, nothing will be wrong, there's no blame, there's no fame, it's up to you," add to the idea that these lyrics are not a happy confirmation, but more a singer that's trying to convince himself to keep going forward. Just as much as these visuals fit Guts, I think also this song and its sound and its lyrics all fit Guts as well. And while I wish I could stop there, unfortunately my AniTuber analysis OC will not stop doing pretentious analysis until he's so far up his own ass that he can see the back of his teeth. When they say mother will show you the way, while simultaneously showing Guts' mom pinata, sure, you can look at that and say, oh, ha ha ha, the creator of this is so dumb. But why not try to analyze it in its favor? Maybe he's saying mother will show you the way to, again, convince himself to keep going because things are clearly bad. Mother is clearly dead. This is a song about struggling to find hope and keep moving forward. That's why the instruments almost sound like they're struggling to play. That's why the singer almost sounds like he's struggling to get his words out. Much like Guts, this song is also trucking on, struggling to find hope. That's enough of that bullshit. You know the real meaning of this song when you get that big Giga Chad greatsword in any fucking Souls game. This is the first opening to the catastrophe that was the 2016 Berserk anime. And the song was created by 9mm Parabellum Bullet. That is a cool ass fucking name, holy shit. Japanese band names have like the widest range imaginable. You got the seatbelts because they rock so hard they had to wear seatbelts. You got the pillows, you got the Penpals, but then on the other side of the spectrum, you got like Maximum the Hormone and fucking 9mm Parabellum Bullet. I love it. The band was formed in 2004 with such members as, you got Takumi Sugawara on the lead vocals and the rhythm guitar, you got Yoshimitsu Taki on lead guitar, piano, and backing vocals, and you got Kazuhiko Nakamura on bass and their characteristic screams that they always do, and of course you got Chihiro Kamijo on drums. Trying my best. And this is pretty much their first song for an actual anime adaptation. Before this, they had a few solo albums and a cover album of Nirvana's Nevermind. Let's start with the visuals of this opening. It's the only good visuals you're gonna get with this adaptation. I love the way it opens up by showing us the friends Guts will meet along this journey, but then right after that showing us his old comrades slowly burning away. Because you know, they died and shit. But then that flame that represented the death of Guts' old friends has now become the flame that powers Guts' Dragon Slayer. That is mwah, symbolism, people. He is carrying each of their memory on that sword. Each of their individual flames that once made up that bonfire of dreams. All of that is now on his back, but also it fuels the raging Inferno.
It's getting hot in here. And every second I take is another thing to you. Calling it the undertow. This is called the undertow.
In Guts' heart. This is the arc where Guts kind of goes on a revenge-fueled journey to avenge those friends. So that flame powering his sword is all of that. It's his comrades and all their dreams, and it's Guts' rage and his lust for revenge for those friends. All that meaning was encompassed and said with a single shot. After that, we get a speed run of pretty much all of Guts' life up until this adaptation, which I think is really cool to do for those people who maybe didn't see the past adaptation or maybe haven't seen it in a long time. So now when they come into this one, they can skip it more easily. Want to give a special mention to the shot where the Band of the Hawk members are all suffering, and then it shows that they're being sacrificed into basically creating Griffith's new body. After this, we get a few shots of Guts' CGI model. Even Casca is scared, as you can see. This is clearly foreshadowing to the reaction that fans would have when they saw this god-awful animation. And I'm just kidding, I'm done. Overall, I really like this opening. I like that it does a little bit of a catch-up. I love the visuals for the most part, and I love the symbolism throughout. Now let's talk that music. I just want to start by saying I am hard at the musicianship that is going on here. Right from the jump, the guitarist and the drummer are just giving me a huge chub in my pants. The guitarist is doing this super fast strumming build up while the drummer is matching him in speed. It really gets your blood flowing right off the bat, and the vocalist beautifully fits the song too, because he can seamlessly flow between the slower parts of the song and the quicker ones. I love the way he carries with the song in this more slower part. It's super enticing. And then he pierces you right back into the faster portion by just kind of raising his voice. Being able to take you from this to this in the drop of a hat, that's impressive. I'm hard. And I love this little moment of this tiny guitar riff and this little drum pattern that happens here. Everything else quiets down, a little bit of the guitar riff, drum, guitar, back to the hook. It sounds amazing. And then we get this super fast, like adrenaline push to the end of the song, where the drummer is just blasting the fuck off like a fucking machine gun. Let's talk lyrics. These lyrics are not English. I am not Japanese, nor do I speak it, so these translations that I found could be wrong. I'll burn this life until it goes out at the threshold of this unending night. I think this alludes to Guts having rage-fueled fights pretty much every night that never seem to end because he's constantly being chased down by apostles. Apostles. I read the comments, I do. Within a single instant, darkness is there, mouth open, squirming wildly. This reality is stained by nightmare, and no one can escape from beneath that moon. More adding to the idea that because of these evil apostles that constantly haunt him at night, that his real life has just basically become a nightmare that he can't escape from. I'll take an unbreakable sword in hand so I can remain who I am. I fucking love that lyric. Oh my god. That lyric most definitely has intercourse. I like this lyric because it gives the idea that Guts connects being himself to his sword, which makes total sense. Guts has always had a connection to his sword. It's been the thing that's always been reliably by his side his whole life. It's an extension of him and how he goes through life, and this lyric encapsulates all that and says it in a very sexy way. So that I won't lose anything else, let this blood flow free, slicing wide open my wounds. Guts has experienced huge loss, and a lot of the reason why he fights is to never experience that anymore. This lyric reads to me as Guts is willing to put his body and life on the line for Casca. Biting a hole through fate, I'll keep up this hopeless struggle. Crossing beyond that unending night, I'll burn this life until it goes out. Biting a hole through fate kind of goes along with the idea that Guts is the struggler. He struggles against destiny. And those last lines allude to the idea that Guts is continuing to move forward with the flame of rage powering him, at least in this arc. Oh my god, you know those lyrics hit when they get you just as hyped as the song does. I want to flip a building. Love the lyrics, love the music, love the visuals, except when I don't. Great ass opening. And once again, 9mm cool ass name is back for opening 2 of this very same adaptation. This one I'd say musically is a lot more laid back, pretty much on all fronts, but still a great ass tune, and I actually think I love these visuals more than any other opening. It opens with the sun coming up and then shows us Guts just looking rough. It shows us a shot of his mark bleeding to allude that he's been pretty much fighting apostles all night and probably just finished fighting some apostles. We see some shots of his new friends cheering him on to get up, and then, oh my god, I love this shot. Check this shit out, check this shit out. Because of those unending nights full of apostles, he's struggling to get up, but as soon as Casca walks off, he gets up like nothing. Light as a feather, follows right after her. Mwah! Symbolism! After that, we get some cool action shots of our whole cast fighting some trolls, followed by what I think is the whole concept of this OP, which is the duality of Guts and Griffith. We got Guts chasing after Casca, someone that he truly cares about. Meanwhile, on the opposite end, we got Sonya chasing after Griffith, while Griffith probably doesn't care at all. Following that, we get another duality shot that may seem simple, but holds so much weight and depth. We start with this shot of Guts that's very up close to the camera, pretty much taking up its whole focus. But then it slowly starts to pan back and show the rest of the cast, which symbolizes the character growth Guts will go on in this series. It's starting so close is because at the beginning, Guts was on this revenge-fueled, selfish journey that he felt like he needed to do all on himself because he didn't want to make connections with people because of, well, you know, you saw it in the last opening. And it panning back and showing the rest of the cast symbolizes Guts eventually letting himself build connections again, allowing himself to find trust again and find new friends. So much was said with such a simple shot. The people who did this, geniuses. And I can already hear some of you telling me I sound like a high school English teacher yelling at you about fucking blue curtains that represent sadness and depression, and I hate my job. But one, they're right. And two, I can back it up. Like I said, this opening I think represents duality, so right after this shot, we get the exact opposite. First we see a moving shot of all these characters bowing down to a full shot of Griffith, who then takes up the entire shot. While Guts is building connection, so he slowly goes away from the shot, showing his friends, while the Griffith shot is the complete inverse. It starts with the people who are around him, but they're not his friends, they're his subordinates. They're literally bowing down to him. To Griffith, these people are disposable. He's more self-centered, so he doesn't build connections like Guts, so inversely, Griffith takes up the entire shot. I just want to give a big props to the animators and the art team behind this because this was some amazing work. After that, we get some really cool shots of the Berserker armor, which obviously foreshadow the ending of this arc. And we end on a shot of Guts' face in rage right under the Berserker armor. I love these visuals. Probably my favorite opening in terms of visuals. I'd say musically, out of the three, this is my least favorite of the openings, but I still like this song quite a bit. Love how it opens up with just that wrenching guitar. Then you get some quicker, deeper guitar and a little bit of drum percussion, all just kind of building up the song. The vocals this time are a lot more mellow and just kind of flow with the music. And even when the song eventually drops, the vocals still remain pretty smooth, just kind of slightly higher energy. My favorite moment has to be during the Guts panning shot. The melody here is just so enticing, and then he does this little subtle, sexy high note. Just buy me a drink first, man, okay? Overall, the song is not as dynamic or varied, but I still love it very much. I'd say the lyrics are pretty easy to understand and follow, except for one part. No matter who tells me you'll never be able to erase that brand or you're just wasting your time by struggling, I still hear the screams of voices failing to make a sound. I don't care whether I'm the one laughing in the end. I think this simply represents Guts' tenacity to keep going despite what he's told and the struggles he's had. That line about not caring about having the last laugh almost kind of alludes to the idea that Guts has given up on trying to get revenge. And this is the second opening, so by this time Guts has kind of went through the character arc of not wanting to just have revenge, and more he wants to be with Casca and keep her safe. Which makes perfect sense because the next lyrics are, "As long as you're here with me, in order to reach the end of this battle, I'll overcome this fate, even if I can't free myself from the hands of gods." I think this alludes to the fact that because Casca is with him, he feels like even more he can do this. He can defy fate. The idea of overcoming fate kind of goes along with the idea that Guts is the struggler and he will continue to struggle against destiny. And that free myself from the hands of gods line is interesting because I think it kind of alludes to the idea that Guts cares more about helping Casca than he does about surviving himself, maybe? "I'll risk the bonds I formed, I'll risk my soul." This one threw me off for a little bit because I don't think it's supposed to be fitting to Guts, because I don't think Guts would, sacrifice his friends. So my guess is this lyric is also supposed to deal with that idea of duality, and that these lyrics are actually supposed to fit Griffith. "In order to reach the end of this battle, I'll risk everything. I'll keep struggling. I'll prove that I can survive." Love that ending. Fits perfectly for Guts and fits perfectly for that duality dynamic. While the Griffith-centric lyrics are saying he'll sacrifice others, the Guts lyrics are saying he will continue to struggle to live on. And now the question on all our minds. Which of these openings is the best? They all got their strengths. Tell Me Why is super visually fitting while also having just an amazing song. I love it. I'm not biased. Inferno is probably the best in terms of musicianship and lyrics. So many great lyrics here that very much fit Guts. And Sacrafice is definitely the best in terms of visuals. As much as I love Inferno, I can't get over those later 3D shots of Guts. They kind of just feel tacked on at the very end. Plus, a lot of the opening is just kind of a speed run of the older adaptation, so I can't really in good faith say this is the best one, in my opinion, of course. And while yes, Sacrafice is probably my least favorite in terms of music, the visuals throughout look amazing and are just chock full of symbolism, and the lyrics still hit pretty hard and add on to that idea of continuing to struggle and move forward. So I really think this is probably the best. I'm personally going to give it to Tell Me Why, but it's not only up to me. Check the comments. There'll be a poll where you can decide and vote for your favorite. And please tell me in the comments why you love that OP so much and why it is your favorite. Thank you all so much for watching, and holy shit, you people, you insane mad lads got me to 50,000 subs. What? I was supposed to do like a 10K sub goal, and then before I could even make a video, y'all got me to 50K. I love you all. I really don't want to break down and tell you everything right now. I want to save that for the next video, which will be the 50K, I guess, sub goal video. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you're new here, you can always leave me a like and a subscribe. I'll always appreciate that. But with all that being said, thank you so much for coming to this little pit stop on the corner of the internet. Peace.